Hi, this is Phil Borders from Hendricks Therapy, and today's topic is toxic parents. Toxic parents is a very important topic because it can have devastating effects on those who have toxic parents, and also toxic parents aren't that easy to find as far as when someone has toxic parents, that's all they know. They don't know a good loving relationship with a parent figure. They don't have a whole lot to compare it to, so they don't realize that they're involved in a toxic relationship. Now, toxic parents on the surface appear to be quite loving, quite nurturing, but after you scrape away the surface, then you can see that, wow, this is just really controlling. It's not good. Toxic parents tend to be very possessive of people's lives, very possessive of people's time. Quite frequently, you'll hear them say, "My children are my life." Now, whenever I hear that phrase, I've got a lot of bells and whistles and danger signs popping off in my brain because that's a sign that this person has an unhealthy relationship with their children. So if you hear somebody say, "My children are my life," you run, you get away from that person. They're not healthy. Toxic parents tend to not respect your feelings. You could be lying in the hospital bed and all you hear about is they're cold. Toxic parents tend to be disrespectful of boundaries. Your no means maybe, your no means yes. They tend to be very guilt-inducing. Guilt's a very lazy way of parenting, but it's quite effective. If you can get a little kid to feel guilty about what they're doing, you've got much more chance of control. If you're a kid and you hear, "Well, my mother, your mother and I, we sacrificed all our lives for you. How can you not do this for us?" That's guilty parenting, which is a sign of toxic parenting. They demand a lot of attention. If you get a phone call from your girlfriend, you get a text from your boyfriend, they look all put out, they look all upset that you are not giving them 100% of your time. They use love as a bargaining chip. Now, this can be most devastating of all. You don't do what they say, they withhold their love. They don't call you, they give you the cold shoulder, which can feel devastating. They're overly critical. Anytime you veer away from the path of becoming little mini versions of themselves, they get unhappy and they will criticize you about that. Now, this is also a point where you can help the toxic parent, because a lot of toxic parents, they're not aware of any of these things in general. And if you point out, you're trying to make your kids little mini versions of yourself, they can kind of grab onto that a little bit. I remember when I was a parent, I just assumed my kids were going to be little mini versions of me. I thought, I'm pretty awesome. Why wouldn't they want to be little mini versions of me? And I figured out pretty quick that they were, little mini versions of themselves, and I had to accept that. If your parent is competitive with you, if they always try to one-up you, if you're doing something and they do it just a little bit better or a little bit quicker, that's a sign that you have a toxic parent. Toxic parents also tend to make their kids feel responsible for their happiness. So if you feel like you're in the role of a parent yourself with your parent, that could be a sign of a toxic relationship. Also, if you feel that you can't be real with your parents, if you have to be fake with your parents, because if you're real with them, they're not happy about it, that could also be a sign that you have toxic parents. So our next discussion is going to be, what do I do if I feel or if I think that I have toxic parents? Talk to you later. Thanks.